Hello, this is Shea speaking with
Peter
Wakefield again on.
Hello.
And we're analysing the chart of Arianna Huffington, born on the 15th of July 1950 in Athens. And Arianna is very well known in most places as being the founder of the Huffington Post, and latterly has become very motivational in terms of the self-awareness movement or the holistic movement, and is a very prepossessing and successful woman in her own right. Her ascendant, we are working on an ascendant of 1 degree Sagittarius. Her sun is in Cancer. Her moon is also in Cancer, with a midheaven of in Virgo at 15 degrees. So the first thing we'll talk about is the fact that she has a stellium of planets in the 8th house Cancer, namely Uranus, Sun, Moon and Mercury. Peter, what do you think of this stellium?
A stellium of planets in Cancer is indicative of a very defensive individual and sensitive individual. But when in the 8th house, Cancer is very inclined to be good at regenerative habits of re-energizing her personality. She has this tendency with Cancer in the 8th house, Sun conjunct Moon, to re-energize herself, because what the conjunction of the Sun and the Moon in Cancer indicates is heterozoic forces coming together. What I mean by that is male and female forces coming together, like the anima and the animus, the archetypes of female and male, and these coming together make a very strong individual in intuiting, which is Cancer, what both the male and the female tastes are when it comes to readerships and to feeding them the right information, because Cancer rules feeding.
Anticipating public response almost.
Absolutely.
And when we look at this Mercury next to the Sun and the Moon, we almost have father, mother and child.
Yes, the animus and the child, which is birthed with that bringing together of both forces. So Cancer is a symbol, is the symbol of giving birth to things. And this is what I mean by regeneration. This is what I mean about regenerative forces, of being able to bounce back when you're down. And Cancer people do occasionally feel the depths of despair. And
it's a very melancholic sign. Really.
It is, yeah, it can be.
And I think that out of Arianna's melancholy or her own personal sadness has come this tremendous archetypal force that she actually is. She's quite a pioneer.
Yes, she comes from a Greek family.
Yes,
which incidentally is ruled by Cancer, a very Neptunian sort of race, the very in tune, very intuitive, very sensational and very emotional. Rules shipping as well. Cancer and Neptune.
Excellent merchants.
Yes.
Greeks.
Yes.
Excellent philosophers and excellent merchants.
And a point that you made to me earlier, which was a very good one about Cancer, is it is the cradle of civilization. Cancer cradles and gives birth to things.
This is what we see in this stellium here. But we also see Uranus at the beginning of Cancer, which is it's a wide square to Neptune, isn't it? The Uranus in the 8th house, which is financial ups and downs with other people's money or through other people's involvement or circumstance. Uranus throws out that harmony in the 8th house.
Squares to Uranus are always issues of lacking balance, especially or regaining balance.
Yeah, especially since it's Neptune in Libra here. So the lifestyle, which is the 11th house, and the aims and the ambitions, has been driven often by sponsorship, or by actually mortgaging oneself to the hilt.
Promotion, yeah.
Well, mortgaging oneself financially to the hilt to get something off the ground, to make it sail, as it were, make it float.
And talking about getting things off the ground, Sagittarius, of course, is the sign par excellence for projecting fiery ambitions and aspirations out into the ether.
Yeah, I mean, Sagittarius is long-reaching. It has a very long reach, and it's often very far-sighted. And it often takes a hell of a risk.
Yes.
And it will venture all for what it wants to know, what it believes in.
When it's in the ascendant, one of the primary symbols for people with a Sagittarius ascendant, Lynn, is the winged horse, Pegasus, which is the symbol of the power of the directed mind. So this is the potency of Sagittarius ascendant.
I mean, Arianna has Saturn on her midheaven in Virgo in the 10th, and this is the sign of the workaholic. And listening to some of her lectures or talks on self-awareness, she will actually describe whereby she pushed herself so hard that she had some sort of breakdown, and after that she was changed from a vastly materialistic person to a much more spiritually aware person. So we have these two incarnations of Arianna. We have the Arianna who was the woman of publishing and the woman bent on success in the corporate world, and then the woman more sensitive to the underlying forces of life and what life is, the values of life that make actually life go around, which is 8th house, nurturing stuff and birth and so on.
Also, with the Sun in Cancer related to the Saturn in Virgo in the midheaven, makes her very sensitive and open to scathing public criticism. So she's been very receptive.
Yeah, there's a sex style, isn't there, to Saturn from the Sun in aspect.
It's almost as if she's in fear of being judged.
Well, Saturn, I think here in Virgo is either very judgmental itself and will sit in judgment on people, or doesn't worry about, opens itself to judgment from other people.
Yeah.
I would say in the pursuit of excellence, she will overturn all objections, or she'll get rid of that.
One of the spiritualizing factors of a horoscope is this opposition between Jupiter retrograde and Saturn in Virgo, Lynn.
Yeah, it is.
And what that does for me is that Jupiter retrograde, which is a singleton in a chart, by the way.
It is.
It's
a fourth house singleton in the equal house.
It's a pivotal place in a horoscope because it's a singleton. What that says to me is that she's self-effacing. She's very...
she's full of humility.
Yeah, she's modest because that Jupiter retrograde will not allow her to get too big for her boots.
No.
It puts her in moderation and keeps her at a deflationary self. She's always looking at herself in a deflationary way.
Well, this is what I mean about the Saturn on the midheaven is really that's taking into account the judgment that people might make of her and staying within those lines, those parameters of I don't want to be too big for my boots or get too opinionated, because Saturn is the very opposite effect of Jupiter. If Jupiter is expansive and sort of outgoing and let's let it fly, and let's face it, exoterically, Jupiter is the ruler of Sag.
And it's almost...
closeted in this fourth house here, she keeps a lot inwards. I mean, Jupiter in Pisces, it's very reflective, it's very humane, and it will carry responsibility for that Saturn in the 10th there. So that taking on great responsibility, which is Saturn, and then carrying it almost emotionally or spiritually for other people. And she is very determined to bring spiritual awareness or self-awareness to the public.
And I think also that Saturn being in such a prominent place in the midheaven is the lingering paternal influence in her life.
Yeah.
Because that Saturn represents disciplinary measures that have always been kept in her head, her pattern of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Saturn in Virgo is very scrupulous, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very scrupulous about its own ethics.
Yeah.
And often the ethics of other people.
Yeah. It's a good business point.
It's a point of leadership. It's a point of people who are able to lead through responsibility, because I think there are various types of leadership, but I think she can carry great. So people who have like a large corporation or staff under them would have Saturn in that position, wouldn't they?
Yes.
In the midheaven. And in Virgo, it would show a need, a wanting to have, to rather than rule, to be democratic in the extreme about other people's feelings and opinions.
Yes, I think she's been accused of being the Edmund Hillary of social climbing. And I think there's a lot of haphazard approaches with that Sagittarius ascendant. Haphazard and happy-go-lucky.
Well, Sag is like that, especially on the ascendant. It's very happy-go-lucky.
And risk-taking as well.
Oh, the risk-taking that's one I was talking about before. I mean, if you look at Venus in Gemini in her 7th house, squaring the Saturn on the midheaven, that shows conflict. It shows conflict of interest regarding partnership, for one thing, and partnership probably being, in the personal sense, coming into conflict with career responsibilities.
Yes.
So having to put partnership completely on the back burner in order to go for it. And I think the health problems would be a demarcation in a shift of values away from workaholism into more gentler methods of understanding life and different priorities.
There's also here a wide square from the Sun to that conjunction of Neptune and Mars. And I've put here, inclined to losses in the family, a dissipation of family energy or domestic energy.
Well, I think Mars in Libra, again, talks about conflict or division. Mars in Libra seeks to reconcile that which is divided or that which is in contention. So it's a sign of a lawyer as well. But the Neptune,
I was about to say it's law breaking, isn't it, Mars in Libra?
I think it's law carrying law more than breaking law.
Or a threat to justice of some sort.
I think it's a need to see justice done. But with Neptune next to it, I think it can mean, I think Neptune next to it can mean that there's a loss of balance. There's a loss of upholding that law. There's a letting go of the law in order to get ahead. Because actually Mars leads. If you look at the wheel as a clock, then Mars is that top outermost planet.
On a lighter note, Lynn, I've seen a little peccadillo here of this conjunction of Mars conjunct Neptune in Libra in the 10th. I put knife and fork, which is a conjunction of Mars and Neptune, with table etiquette. I think she's quite, what did you say, formal?
Yeah,
when it
she
comes
likes
to
formality.
Home comforts and homemaking.
Formal about her own home.
What did you say? Formal about?
I said she likes formality.
Yes.
So really the opposite. She has a very distinctive idea of what should be formal and then what should be relaxed. And formality may be important to her.
And etiquette would be Libra.
Etiquette is Libra,
in the 10th.
I see as well this Mars and Neptune is almost like a sheathed sword. So the sword is like it's not seen immediately because it's sheathed by the Neptunian thing. So I'm ready to strike. I'm ready to go forth in battle, but I will do whatever it takes on the diplomacy stakes first, because the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yes, yes. I have a prediction here with the stellium of planets in Cancer that she has related to her Sagittarian ascendant. I think in later years, if she has any money to invest, she will.
I think she's quite wealthy.
I think she will be opening a museum, which is Cancer,
right?
Which is to do with the old Greek country. So it'll be
really.
Yeah, I think she'll invest in her national heritage in some way and open a museum in Greece.
Or maybe sponsor archaeology in some way, or sponsor some kind of ancient monument, which is the same thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I put here renovating. It's a permutation of the stellium in the 8th. Renovating old railway carriages shining in the sun.
Really? That's interesting. Or chariots even.
Or chariots, or cars.
I think the stellium of planets in Cancer, and especially Sun and Moon, shows the maternal. There's a very interest in and respect for the mother.
Yes.
And everything maternal.
That's
and
right.
The responsibilities of mother, and almost a reinvention of self through becoming a mother, or taking on a motherly role. I mean, this, in the Jungian sense, it could be interpreted as rainbow mother. So
yes.
She inspires by ideas.
I agree with that.
Which is what she does now, I think.
In terms of the 7 rays, I think that Venus in Gemini would make her a second ray soul, which is compassionate, teacher and healer at deep levels. What about, Lynn, this?
I know she does courses in meditation.
Yes, that would be the start of it. Yeah.
This is very much retrograde Jupiter in Pisces, because retrograde Jupiter in Pisces is to do with looking very altered states of consciousness, if you like, and meditative reflective states, and needing that, and wanting to reach some information via those states.
Yes. What would you make of this Jupiter in Pisces in terms of, did you say at some point in pre-conversation that she had a depression?
No,
No, right.
No, you said, do I think that's depressive?
Did she go through a period of
depression?
Yeah.
I've no idea.
Right.
You asked me if I thought Jupiter in Pisces was depressive. I think that retrograde Jupiter brings a kind of suppression that has to be overcome in order to remember and reconnect with past information, because Jupiter is about information.
Would you say it's indecision as well? I put here indecisive.
I think it's searching more than indecision.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about agnosticism.
Yeah.
And if somebody's agnostic, it is the beginning of the road to the spiritual search.
Finding truth. Yeah.
Because it's different than being atheistic. Agnostic says I'm open, and actually I'm open to know. And once I start to know, I need to know more. So I think it's the beginning of the search for spiritual
I would
awareness,
agree with that, yeah.
rather than religious doctrine. Because, of course, Pisces is about religious doctrine to a certain extent. But Jupiter retrograde wants to go beyond that, deeper, more ancient than that.
She knows how to protect herself with all those planets in Cancer as well. It loves to hide within the shell when it needs to.
Well, Jupiter in the 4th house, stellium in the 8th house, these are what we call the hidden houses, the karmic houses. And so the predominance of her planets lies in these hidden houses, although she's nothing in the 12th house.
Yeah.
So the hidden houses are about somebody who's fairly introverted. But whilst she's introverted, she also knows how to work the stage of life or the world. Mars in Libra, and in Neptune next to this Mars shows that again she can hide, she can change, she can be quite chameleon.
She can regenerate.
But she can change to suit the companies that she's with, or reflect back to people what they perhaps would need to see.
Very adaptable. Then.
But all the time there's a guardedness around.
There is with Cancer.
The real, but in the 8th house especially, there's a guardedness around the real if you like, motivational feelings of the person.
Yes, it's a fortified sign, isn't it? It builds castles and forts.
Yeah,
Cancer.
it does, and it's very reflective of especially the inner woman, the feminine of Cancer, very shell-like.
Overall, I think from time to time, with that Jupiter in Pisces singleton, she will get the wind taken out of her sails, but she does know how to regenerate.
I think it's massive. I think, on reflection, Peter, what I think is Jupiter in Pisces retrograde sets itself up for disappointment, particularly opposite Virgo, Saturn. Yes. Virgo, because Virgo is reminiscent with disappointment, because Virgo doesn't often just expects to be overlooked, or and this carrying of responsibility for other people is very onerous, and keeping back.
And because she doesn't exalt herself, other people.
I don't think she does, Well, she might be quite exalted in society. By natural progression, she has become very respected.
Yes.
And therefore, she's well known on her own merit. But this is different than somebody who wants to push themselves forward.
Because she's very modest. Other people cannot take accuse her of big things, can they?
I agree. She is modest, and it's hard for her. It will have been hard in a big way.
I think at the moment she's on an arc of consciousness which is rapidly unfolding and ascending. So at that point, perhaps...
That's it. We will say
you will hear more in due course.
You will. Thank you very much for joining us. There's more of our work at perceptivity.co.uk.
And LinkedIn, my account at LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you. Take care and join us for the next Celebrity Pod.